Um, so Holly, good evening.
Hi, Sam. How's it going?
Hi. Well, I will say that there's a sense of momentary relief for me right now. I have a friend who's a photographer, and that I used to live just a few blocks away from 38th in Chicago, George
Yes.
Floyd Square now, and a friend just sent me photographs from there where they're taking pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and I see a sense of people sharing community there,
Yes.
and um, I heard Minneapolis Council member Andrea Jenkins talking about a sense of relief, but not necessarily celebration. And I think that uh, you know we're a peacemaking school, and I think what that means at this time for me is we got to acknowledge uh, something needs changing when we got to work this hard to see a sense of justice. And so
Agreed.
I think I'll let other people who are closer to expertise in that area speak to it. We are operating a school for students, and I just want to say to folks right now, as if at 6 p.m. there's still a lot of time between now and tomorrow, but we still will be virtual learning tomorrow for all students. In particular, even a sense of relief can bring a large release of emotion, and we aren't sure how that will affect our cities. And at the very least, our as a phrase that really has come up too many times this past 14 months, the abundance of caution we are taking in operating distance learning for everyone tomorrow, um, hopefully will be looked back upon as possibly not necessary, but we're going to monitor what's going on and make sure everyone can get to where they need to be, and everyone's homes and lives are in order, and hopefully unexpected time tomorrow together as a family might be an opportunity to talk and reflect and prepare for the next day. And so we do. I will work, frankly, for everyone who is perhaps scrambling for childcare tomorrow. I'm working my very hardest to make sure that, if possible, Thursday is a regular day of operation for all those elementary students who are coming in person. I know all the adolescent students now who are coming to the school resource center. So we'll get that right out of the way right away. For the folks who are here in the audience, if you've got a live question, please ask it. Holly, the things I have on the forum agenda tonight uh, include reminding folks about the Blue Heron Bash coming up this Saturday,
Yes.
and
Put
also
some bids
talking
out.
about the COVID numbers that we're talking about. Do you have any questions?
I've had a couple questions about graduation come in.
Oh, good, good.
And I've said that you're going to send an email, but you might have more to say about that. The end of the day was pretty chaotic because we were expecting the verdict. And so I fielded lots and lots of calls about virtual school tomorrow.
Okay,
Um,
well let's ask those and
yeah,
see how
like,
we can.
are we going to come back to school on Thursday? Do they have
Yeah.
to go to virtual school tomorrow? Um,
Yes.
will anyone be in the building?
No.
Those sorts of questions. Yeah,
Okay.
I knew the
Well,
answer.
well, let's just, I mean, we could speak to that. I spoke to that a little bit. So you do have to go to virtual school tomorrow, and we're holding that kind of school. I know other large districts are holding that kind of school. And in particular, we have a lot of folks who travel down the University Avenue corridor, travel up through the Hamlin, Midway, Frogtown neighborhoods, or from there, and also down the Lake Street and Marshall corridor. And those are places that are high tension. There are thousands of law enforcement folks in the cities that are not usually around, and caution prevails. So tomorrow, what I look forward to, may this happen. We have a day of virtual learning where we look around and we think we could have safely traveled today, and then we're all thankful for that, all willing. And then in terms of will there be someone in the building? Can I just come anyway? My understanding is no. We are also still working in the building on things, but not ready to care for students and people. So both on-site learning needs like monitoring HVAC and continuing to change filters. I think that'll happen tomorrow. I know we're upping our bandwidth for internet, and so there might be people working there tomorrow, but no, tomorrow is not a day to go to the campus. We still will monitor throughout the day tomorrow. It's still a time of deep grief and sorrow for me to think about how the world is working, especially for young Black men, and frankly, what I hope is coming in tomorrow and in the coming days and weeks and months and years is a change in what we expect from each other in society and how we work together, and have solidarity mean something other than a word we use when something bad happens. So in any case, it gets pretty heavy talking about it. I understand for parents, families, and students who are at wit's end and really just want routine. Tomorrow's just a break. It's a break. If you have to think about it like a snow day, go for it. If you think about it like a day of relief for you, go for it. If you think about it like a day of, checking in with your teacher and turning your computer off and writing a novel, then ask for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
One day task.
Right. So in any case, are there questions I didn't answer though in that realm, Holly?
No, because with the email that you sent out today, you said by 5 o'clock tomorrow,
Absolutely.
you will have decided, not you, but you.
We will have announced, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that is really the only other question that people had was like, when will we know? How will we know?
Yes. So we will know as we monitor tomorrow morning and overnight, if all looks predictable and reliable, then we will know, and we'll make an announcement so that you can know. I think it is at this time in particular, perhaps surprising how much perhaps we take for granted predictability in things that work. So, it's a time when we've lived through a lot of challenging of that idea.
Rough patches, I call them.
Rough patches. Okay, that's good.
Rough patches.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I have one question from a parent that I will answer about the 6-week planning period, and then we have some case rate data to share. So Holly, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. You know what I'm gonna do, Holly? We're gonna pull the cord on the old information sharer. I'm gonna share my screen. If I drop out, just everybody hold on, and I'll come back very soon.
Okay.
Holly, are you able to see the case rates per 10,000?
Yes, look at them.
Oh, wonderful. Good. So folks, I'm sharing the talking points for the public health decisions we make. And I will also share, let's see here. I hope this doesn't take it away, Holly. Did it go away?
Still there.
Okay, good. In any case, I'm going to share also just in a moment a reminder of some of the baselines we're monitoring, because these 2-week averages, as you will notice in our 7 metro counties, back in mid-February through the end of March, were low, generally low, especially in Ramsey County, and in Hennepin County holding low, starting though to inch up. And what we are seeing over the last several weeks, and we are keeping a live, basically I check now every day on the 7 metro counties and their current case rate per 10,000. Now, the Department of Health really wants to hold on to that data and make sure it's correct, but you can get projections. And I know that case rates have gone up approximately 10% in each county since last week here. So in Ramsey County, about 15%. And so what that means is this most recent reported column, we're averaging 49 cases per 10,000. And here's some really important data to understand, is that last summer, July 2020, through I would say December, the 6 months, the last 6 months of 2020, these were the only numbers the state advised schools to look at. And what happened in December 2020 is the state really pivoted and said, look at these case rates, also look at your local data, look at cases in your local community, not even just your local data, but your local school community, assess if mitigation is working, and if mitigation is working, if there aren't cases in your school building, in your school community, and you are able to prevent the spread of COVID-19, continue to hold school. I don't know if you remember that proclamation. It threw some wrenches in my winter break plans this year with the work that we had to do over winter break. But what this means is the case rates are going up. That doesn't mean we're going to stop holding school if they go up more. It does mean, though, we're watching very carefully. I'm imploring, calling on, cajoling, coercing. Holly, get out the
Be
thesaurus.
careful.
Asking, be careful with all those things you're doing. I'm asking everyone to get tested regularly, especially students who are coming on campus, and
Pleading.
especially, frankly, even staff and faculty members who may be fully vaccinated in 2 weeks after their last shot, which I know many people are, especially educators. Please continue to get tested. This is something you will probably hear about throughout the summer. If variants continue to develop and continue to move through the population, because while vaccines are really wonderful protective measures, they're like umbrellas, and we want to make sure that they still hold up. And also, we want to know, especially for students coming on campus, who we know are not vaccinated, if they're under the age of 16 for sure. We want to know early if you've been exposed and if you have a positive case that's not yet symptomatic or is asymptomatic. So please get tested often. It's free still in the state of Minnesota. There are ways to do it. So many places. Please, please, please. If you have questions, ask us where to get tested. But here's why. We want to continue to hold school, and even say with case rates in Scott County or Carver County being very high, we are monitoring very carefully what that means. Frankly, I'm calling the Department of Health often to ask clarifying questions and see if there's updates. And the recommendations, as far as I can tell, are not generally going to change for school sites unless there are cases that seem to be related, or unless there are cases unrelated but in multiple places in the school. So just to remind everybody, we have a couple graphics. I think this is going to go to a page that is, can you see a blank page right now, Holly?
Yes, it's very blank. It's totally blank.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment just so I can pull up the correct information.
Okay.
Okay, I hope I don't drop. In any case, I'm going to pull up our school website, because at the top of our website at greatriverschool.org/return, there's a reminder there. And the reminder is specifically about the baselines and benchmarks that we want to keep meeting. And if case rates hit a certain point, or case positivity rates hit a certain point, then we are committed to reviewing and making sure that our learning model, our mitigation standards are all still sufficient to be holding schools safely and securely. We currently believe they are, and so here's a couple of the high-level data points that remind us that the current way that we are preparing and acting on mitigating this virus on the school site is successful. First off, we have had folks who work at Great River and students who attend Great River have symptoms, go get tested, and find out they're positive. We have taken action to quarantine if that happens. And what we have found is that, at least at this point, we haven't found that cases have spread between employees and students, or between employees and employees. There's only one case in one classroom, in fact, where there were 2 positive cases in the same classroom, but it's not, in fact, even clear if those folks would have been close contacts. And so because we see that, we can report to you, like we do in every newsletter, a very low number of positive cases, and also very little evidence, if any at all, that any cases have spread. In fact, all evidence pointing to cases have been isolated, our masking, our air quality, filtration and ionization, the fresh air that we're bringing into the building, the air return, is all making it possible to really mitigate the chance that a virus spreads. And so I'll just show one last thing for those of you who are following along. The reason I'm really focusing on this is because there are public health experts. Holly, can you see the school website?
Yes, there it is.
Okay, do you see the speedometers up at the top?
I see speedometers, yes.
We made 2 speedometers.
Yes.
The elementary program, because you can choose to be in person, and we have those opt-in dates, counts as a hybrid right now. We do have, I'd say about 10% of the elementary population, maybe 15 is learning virtually. Many elementary students are learning in person. And at the adolescent, we're accepting any students who want to come to the School Resource Center. And as we look at that, Holly, can you read this chart? Is it too
It's a little tiny, but if I get really close, I can.
Okay. So I'll just identify for folks that we do have baselines, and one of the baselines has to do with when case averages are at 75 per 10,000. We will have a meeting in which we talk to both the Department of Health, our regional Department of Education team. We will also then talk with our school nurse. We'll consult with the folks who have volunteered to work in the COVID advisory. And to be very clear, COVID advisory is not a decision-making body, but is a group of parents, students, and employees who give feedback, who augment or make suggestions about how we can be better communicators and how we can make the best decisions. That consulting and then talking with our school nurse and our health officials will inform if we have to pause for any reason to make sure that we are still operating safely. So that assessment will happen officially, and I'm seeing that it's possible in the next couple weeks that we do hit that 75 per 10,000 mark. And as we do that, again, I'm asking everyone to get tested often if you can, because that helps us get a health picture of a real local situation.
Sam, I have a question.
Yes, please.
It's 75 cases.
Yep.
As an average, or is it 75 cases in one county?
It's 75 cases per 10,000 people, and that's
Yes.
the 14-day count. And so
are you taking it from the average, or are you taking it from any one county out of the seven?
As I scroll up here, do you see the burp? Do you see the
See that?
equation right here?
Yes.
This is the equation we're using. And so the Department of, you can look this up, anyone can. It's total number of cases for 14 days divided by that county population over 10,000.
So it is per county.
Yep. And so that's the 14-day county case level. So we're taking an average of all 7 counties.
Okay, that's my question.
Yep. And the thing that I'm monitoring right now that's informing, knowing that we're approaching 75 is 2 weeks ago, it's 49.75. As of today, it's closer to 62.
Whoa.
So, I know. And so for some families who are very cautious, I know that they have monitored that themselves and are considering whether or not to continue in-person learning.
Yes.
And here's what I'm identifying, and I think what we have learned is that school sites are rarely the place where the virus passes. And if they are, it's often mitigated and very controlled. So very few cases between people who are on school sites together. It's carpooling, activities, hanging out in houses, really letting our guard down moments that the Department of Health has identified are the places where most commonly we see a lot of spread. And so we're living through a pandemic, and we're going to school.
And we're doing it.
Well, we are, and I just want to say we're being cautious by monitoring these numbers and also monitoring the case positivity rates daily. So I did field a question though here, and Holly, can you see this question? I appreciate the candor and the honesty, and I also committed to this family that I would answer this question.
Oh, good.
In person here on the video.
Yes.
I answered one of their questions last week, and it was not necessarily satisfactory to them, but I did give an answer, and so I'm definitely going to give an answer to this question today.
Okay.
So I have titled this question 6 weeks really. They didn't type that, but I think it's
okay.
Holly, would you mind reading this?
I would love to read this.
Okay, there you go.
Is it true that if a decision was made to bring back the remaining upper grades, that you would only do so after giving teachers a 6-week warning? I heard directly from a teacher that after a decision to go back in person was made, there would be a 6-week period for teachers to prepare, quote unquote. Why can't you just be honest and say that the rest of the year will be distance learning? And 6 weeks, really?
Holly, thank you for reading that question. Thank you for asking that question. I will identify that way back in August, I did identify that yes. Holly, can you see the website now?
Not yet. Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. The information that we gave way back at the beginning was that families have choices. And as I scroll here, Holly, do you see my scroll?
I see. We're going past
Ooh,
we're going past all those things.
yep.
All those things.
So yeah, we gave these evaluation of learning model moments in a
Yes.
calendar form, and the state threw us some curveballs. But the
Yes.
reason I was saying 6 weeks is because I I wish it was simpler, frankly, to prepare and deliver the kind of program we deliver without that kind of time to plan ahead. Um, right now, I can tell you that for the 7th and 8th year students, for instance, we were really working hard. Both right now, anyone can come to the SRC, so 7th and 8th year students can even form cohorts and come to the SRC in the same days or all the days together. We're working really hard too, though, on making the May 17th um, action month that's being planned, the community action month that the 7th and 8th year program is planning for students, really worthwhile, and really giving students who want in-person learning something like that experience. So we'll be making an announcement about that, giving families communication very soon. But the reason I gave the 6-week date and the reason we gave this little map back in August is because uh, these dates, October 19th, November, January, February, April, May, were going to be times when we knew we were going to look at the calendar and have good points both academically, from a teacher planning perspective, and to not cause the chaos of going back and forth for students uh, between are we in person, are we virtual, are we in person. So the reason of a 6-week planning period is important is because it takes time to adjust what we're doing, and it might not be everyone's opinion, and I respect the disagreement. But what I see is to do a quality plan ahead education where we all know it's going to happen. We needed at least that much time from the moment we said yes, we're going to move to a different model. That's what we did in the elementary. Might have been a couple weeks longer than folks wanted to wait for. That's what we have done when I announced 2 weeks ago that we were making I think actually 2 weeks ago that we were going to be in distance learning the rest of the spring for adolescents. I look back on that and I see perhaps I didn't make that clear enough. We are in distance learning primarily for adolescents as the academic delivery model for the rest of the year. And there are ways in which our families have said very clearly to us, some folks really need distance learning for the whole rest of the year, about half, and some folks, about half, really want in-person options. So we're doing our best to offer those at the 9th through 12th grade level because there's so many different disciplines. That looks like many options to gather in person, to do class activities in person, to have community meetings and social meetups that are meaningful, but without interrupting the academic model and intervention that's working for many students, so we can really focus on better work for individuals. Secondly, there's some specifics that are about the 7th and 8th year programs that we see that some more of those students would like in-person learning opportunities, and so we're working on that. But um, we made that commitment when we sent families an email, I think 3.5 weeks ago, where we said we're going to offer options and we're going to let you know at the end of this week and early next week specifically how to opt into those options. So yes, I'm sorry to disappoint those who want us to be moving faster, but I will be honest in that moving faster than 6 weeks uh, would cause, could cause, will cause if we forego that planning period time, um, a real I think disruption in the kind of planning ahead and quality that you would expect. Some people would pull it off. Some people would struggle with it. There'd be a lot of misconnections, and frankly, if we just worked on individual classroom bases, um, even that wouldn't be possible, and we don't do that in the elementary. So, 6 weeks really. I know it may seem like we developed a vaccine as a nation faster than that. It took a little longer than 6 weeks, and I guess I'll just identify. There's a little bit of extra funding that schools were given. However, for us, it wasn't really, in fact, even more than 1% addition to our school budget. So as I look at those numbers, as I look at the commitments that we made in terms of these assessment dates, what we were planning here are about every 6 weeks. So what you do see here, though, is that if you want to opt into in-person learning and you're not currently doing it for elementary, you can still opt in, start on May 10th. And if you want to look forward to more programming, say for 7th and 8th years that are going to be in person, I know Community Action Month is happening, and that May 17th through the end of the year is not, I guess I would think about that like an opportunity to do something a little different. Like in place of the bike trip, we're going to do a project. It's going to take a lot of things from us personally, share them with groups, and we're going to get a lot out of it in working in groups. And so where I see that is that, to be really clear, we're not doing a bike trip this year, but we're doing a Community Action Month for the 7th years and 8th years. As we move though toward next year, I have been saying to the school board, and will again this month, I am looking forward to recommending, and I am recommending now, we plan to be in person next year, and that we make backup plans if we have to mitigate for virus effects on our school still next fall. So plan A would be, we're going to do what we usually do in past years pre-pandemic, and then we would have plans B, C, and D ready if we need to, if something new happens with the virus, or if some state recommendation is made that's interrupts us. But we intend to, and we're planning ahead right now for the kind of in-person learning that I know families and students have enjoyed at Great River for the 15 years before this pandemic. So that might be a little long, but as this talking points question, I'll just go right back to it. 6 weeks, really? Yes, I'm sorry, really. And on top of that, it's not to try to hide the fact that when we surveyed adolescent families at the very beginning of March, those first 10 days of March, when I came back mid-March and said, you know, it's a really split set of families, means we have divergent needs. We can't just do one thing and leave the other thing out. I gave a preview there, but I could have been more direct in saying we're going to have to keep doing distance learning for the academic content generally. And if we do, say for the 7th and 8th years, or for individual community meetings, have more in-person options, we know we have to keep doing both the rest of the year, because, you know, even if 40% of your students are still virtual learning, we have to make sure we have a good plan for that to transition. So, Holly, please ask.
Sam,
Yeah.
when is the deadline for elementary students to opt to in-person learning on May 10th? When's the deadline?
That would be May 3rd,
May
a week
3rd.
before. Yep. And
Okay.
we'll send some reminders for elementary folks. And then we will be communicating at least by next week, if not late this week, with 7th and 8th year families about what May 17th and onward options there might be. I want to really recognize and applaud the 7th and 8th team that have been working together on revising plans and working really hard on plans to make that month meaningful, both for virtual learning students and for students who want options for in-person learning. And then I'll just remind folks that we have a building-wide air ionization system that's been tested regularly. We have additional air exchange, so we upped the air exchange volume that gets exchanged completely more regularly, in addition to being ionized. And then we also have operable windows and doors in many places. And so in any case, we're just doing everything we can to make sure that learning environment is both mitigated and ready for students, both now and next fall. So yes, though, if it wasn't clear, the email that we sent a few weeks ago to all adolescent families was trying to iterate that distance learning, virtual learning, primarily the way 9th through 12th graders will get academics, and primarily the way 7th and 8th years will, at least through May 17th, but we can't just throw one out the window because we don't have real family consensus or student support for just one option versus the other. So 6 weeks, really? Yes. And then last thing I want to say, unless we have more questions, Holly, yeah, go ahead.
Well, is there a deadline then for grades 7 through 12 to go to SRC?
Right. SRC is in an ongoing rolling enrollment basis. Basically, you let us know, we make a spot for you, and then you come very soon afterwards, like sometimes a day or two. So just let us know, and we have spots.
So even June 1st. Well,
you could. We are also, for spring intensives for the 9th through 12th years, those are happening, and some will be primarily in person, if not all. I mentioned a Community Action Month that's really being worked and planned. I won't say more about that. I just know that that will offer a lot of good options for students to really get engaged. And then for a senior class, there's senior intensives that they plan independently, and there's an experiential learning month in May. Many in-person options for those seniors who want to be together. And many of those seniors are pursuing vaccinations right now. So
yes, they are.
They are. So I do want to identify that opt-in date for elementary, though. We'll send reminders. And so May 3rd is the date. We'll remind you of where to go opt in again. I do want to talk about the Blue Heron Bash, which is
Please, I've placed some bids already and I need to win.
the Blue Heron Bash website is open, greatriverschool.org/Blue Heron Bash. It's a fundraiser organized not by the school per se, but specifically by the Great River Foundation. And there are parents who volunteered through the foundation to really put together a wonderful virtual event. I have a short list of videos to record. I don't know if you can see, but it's a short list. I've got to get out the ukulele or other instruments and record them. And in any case, the Blue Heron Bash is this Saturday. There will be many things throughout the day, including a talent show, including the auction will close. It's open now. You can find it online. The auction will close on Saturday, and then I believe, and then I think
Scavenger.
I think I have to record the scavenger hunt and a musical message about fundraising, and I think I'm even reading a story again. So it's going to be really fun. I know, really fun.
Have you done that video yet?
No.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
Send me the book I should read, Holly.
I answered the ant.
Okay, I like that. I'll look it up. So Blue Heron Bash, it's Saturday. It's I think remarkable to me that our school just a year and a half ago really reestablished the foundation as a separate nonprofit. Folks who were on the school board or were just part of the community joined that nonprofit on the board. That nonprofit over the last year has been able to take fundraised funds and use them for a family support fund, particularly to bridge families who are in either a housing crisis or have an essential need. And before they can find the appropriate social service, Great River School Foundation, with a specific set of criteria, has worked with their social work team to use those funds that way. We have also been able then to use the foundation funds not only to keep school operations going or to meet student needs both on-site or at home with technology this year, but really to be prepared to again engage in our key experiences in our training and our planning and our teacher support. And specifically in teacher support around knowing that if we need additional folks to work at the SRC, if we need additional staffing to support reading or math interventions, if we need additional substitute teaching, I always knew that there was that buffer of support available. And so in any case, the foundation fundraises many ways, and one of them is the Blue Heron Bash coming up Saturday.
And it's so much fun.
So much fun. It is.
So much fun. The talent show is beautiful.
It'll be very fun. So anyone who's here, this is your 1-minute call if you have questions to ask.
Can you say anything about graduation?
Well, I will say this about graduation. I had a meeting last week on Wednesday, just 6.5 days ago, practically at this point, where a volunteer organizer and I met. We do have a viable plan for an in-person graduation only for seniors and their immediate family who can fit, frankly, on an 8x8 picnic blanket on campus. And weather doesn't even have to be permitting for it to happen. We have a backup date, would be 24 hours afterwards, but graduation is June 11th. That's the last day of school. It's at 6 p.m. We will live stream it. And for seniors who are out there, there will be an in-person option, but we're working on details. For anyone who's not a senior out there, unless you're volunteering literally to help the event happen, you're going to have to stay home to allow everybody who is a senior in high school and or who is a faculty member and or who is a family member of that senior to be on the campus. So
I would like to volunteer to help.
Oh, good. You're in, Holly. You're in.
Yay!
I will give a closing preview. I have a little note here just to mention that we will be hosting, I believe, sometime in the coming month, one of these community forums will be focused on the nutrition program, and we're working on possible ways to focus the nutrition program on a student impact that really lines up with the school's mission and vision, and look at how coming out of this pandemic, there's a lot of things we learned, such as folks really want to buy that food for dinner, So how can we really focus on providing a good quality lunch for students, an option for students to have their lunch already at school, and I think continue some of the things that are successful, while also then maybe integrating more education for students as part of that component of that program. So once we have some details about that, we will be holding a forum so we can hear from the families who and the students for whom the nutrition program impacts in something of like a town hall. And so we'll give notice. And when we do give notice, I think this will be the kind of venue that we host, possibly on one of these Tuesday nights, sometime in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
That sounds great.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I don't see questions coming up. We answered them all, Holly.
Yeah,
I think it's time to bid adieu. And
right.
may our cities and our state and our world find a way to make justice not an uphill climb. Is my
Right.
closing night. So
Peace, Sam.
peace to everyone. Good night. Stay safe.
Good night. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining.